Hi, I'm Kenny King with Mifflin Township Fire Department, and I have with me today Ginger Workman from West Licking Fire District. And today we're going to be talking about athletic training injuries and working with our fire departments for game nights, and especially football as it approaches us on Friday nights. If you refer to page 183, you have a thing in your protocol called athletic pre-planning. We encourage all fire departments to go out, meet with their athletic trainers that represent their school district within your area, so that you have an idea of what's going to be going on a Friday night. Meet your trainer and talk about some things. Today, Ginger's going to be talking about a little bit with spinal injury assessment and the use of backboards. We're going to go over helmet removal and shoulder pad removals, and so you're familiar with the equipment and how to take it on and off. So Mifflin Township has Ohio Health as their trainer for Gehenna. We also have Columbus Academy in our district, and we work with Kim up there. But today we just have these two entities with us. So with Ohio Health, we'll let these guys introduce themselves.
I'm Mike Townsend.
I'm Ken Rivers.
I'm Ethan Swanson.
And Ginger has Ohio Health. So we'll let Ohio Health, Nationwide Children's Hospital, we'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Chelsea Todd.
Alright. So some of the things that we're going to look for with our spinal injury assessment of our player is obviously when we get to the football field, we're going to utilize the resources of the trainer, and it's a collaborative effort for us to be able to determine when we need to use a spine board merely for transferring, or when we need to actually keep the patient on the spine board for purposes of their care and to be able to stabilize their spine, their head, neck, and spine. So some of those things we're going to be able to do, and if we refer back to your protocol and the spinal injury assessment, is the things we want to be able to look for is we've got a list of questions. We want to make sure that is the patient going to be able to stay calm? Are they awake? Are they able to answer our questions? Do they have any tenderness? Do we notice any step-offs or anything else, any other deformities? As we're going through and doing that initial assessment, working our way down their cervical spine, and then also finding out where their injury was. How did the hit occur, or what type of a situation have they found themselves in? So we're kind of making those decisions and reflecting back on what we have learned and other things through our research. Is that the backboard, as much as we use it as much more now as a means of basically transferring a patient from point A to point B, as opposed to actually leaving them on the backboard to get to the hospital. Because we know that we're going, in those cases, we tend to be potentially doing more damage to the person by having them on the backboard for anything even as early as 10-15 minutes can actually start to cause them tissue damage. So we know that we want to be able to make those good decisions and following our protocol when we make those decisions as far as whether or not we're going to leave them on the backboard, or are we just going to use it to be able to get them off the field, get them up to the cot, and then go get them in the back of the truck so that we can continue our assessment.
So next we're going to talk about football helmets. Mike's going to talk about the helmet construction, how they take them off, the tools that they use to take off the helmets, and how it will be. At the end, you're going to get to see me in the helmet and shoulder pads, and our trainers are going to take the helmets and shoulder pads off of you. Just so you're aware, in case you don't know, Dr. Z does like helmets and shoulder pads to be taken off prior to transport. He says that we as paramedics and athletic trainers do a better job of removing those helmets and shoulder pads than they even do in the ER, because they just don't have the knowledge of how to take them off, and it just becomes a prying game. Okay? So Mike, take us away with the helmet.
So for this helmet, the face mask is attached by 4 of the quick release rivets. So we have a special tool that you press down on the center, and then once that is pressed down, you'll just pull back, and then the clip will be released. So for the flex helmet, so the one that you can kind of see the shape on the top, all 4 of the quick release. We have another helmet here, the speed helmet. So they'll have quick release on the bottom that you would do the same thing with, and then on the top, there's 2 Phillips screws that hold that in place. So we have a electric screwdriver that we can remove those with, and then we just have a backup regular screwdriver in case something happens with the electric. So those are the tools for the face mask removal. For this helmet, the chin strap inserts into the helmet, so we would just cut the chin strap on this one. And then with the speed helmet, these ones are just popped on, so you can just clip them off, or to be more time efficient, we would probably just cut that as well.
Okay, so Mike, tell us about, you have a nice bulb syringe here. Tell us about how you deflate and inflate a helmet.
So to inflate, you would just turn this all the way to the left, and then you find the bladders. This one has the ear bladders, the main bladder, and then one in the back. So you can just push that in, and then the patient should feel the helmet deflate.
So with that comment real quick, do these ear pads come out? So if we're wanting the guys to remove the helmets and they need to get in there, can they pop the ear pads out?
Yeah, so a tongue depressor, you can fit inside to pop those out. Most of the time the athletes are so sweaty that when you go to pull the earpieces out, you can pull not far enough that the helmet's going to slide out. But say you don't feel like you have enough room, the earpieces will slide off.
And they pop out on both helmets, correct?
Correct.
Now Watkins also has, where Chelsea's at, it has Rydell's. And we also, I coach out there, we also have some shuts. There's not a whole lot of difference in construction with them. They all have bladders to them. They all have earpieces that are removed. The bladder will help if you deflate it or have them, Mike deflated or Chelsea deflated. Prior to taking it off, it'll help with that pressure, of course, around the head. Sometimes the guys wear them a little bit tight. Sometimes the guys are lazy and they don't even put enough air in to begin with. Okay, so depending on how tight when you feel, you go to open the helmet to get it off. It's pretty rigid. You go to pull that back. Okay, sometimes if you take these two screws off, that will also help and give you more flex to the helmet. So if you needed an airway, guys, all you need to do is take this, pull it off, and this will hinge back. You can leave the face piece on and deal with an airway for that too. Okay? They also have a tool called the Angel's tool, right? And that is pretty much a tool that just allows them to cut different areas of the helmet. It just looks like a pair of shears that they carry with them in their bag. These guys on Friday night will have all this stuff basically in a little kit on their side, or a lot of times they have it in a toolbox on the side. But as you get out there, they'll have it with them to help assist with the athlete. Okay? Is there anything else that is informative for these guys? This face mask swings a little bit easier, like I was talking about for the Airways on this one. In this one, it'll swing up on the top one and pivot. But other than that, they're both a whole lot of similarities. Anything else? Chelsea, you have anything to add?
The only thing I have to add is if you don't have that special tool for the ones that just like pop right out, you can use a pen. That'll work.
A pen?
Pen.
Like a pen?
Yeah, just a ballpoint pen.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Well, hopefully a lot of guys are carrying a pen in their pocket, so that will work. All right, well, thanks a lot, guys. Next thing we're going to talk about is the shoulder pads. These are made by Rydell. There's a couple different manufacturers, but of course they're all pretty much the same. We have Rydell's out of Watkins. Of course we're using the equipment from Gahanna, so they have the Rydell's. I'm just going to slip these on Mike, okay? Basically when you're fitting these, one of the things you can look for that night is for an injury if they're complaining of shoulder, neck, and back. If you feel up in here, this pad right here should come out over top of the shoulder, protecting the top of the shoulder, the clavicle and stuff. So if they're complaining of shoulder pad and you pick up the pads and the pad is not out over that, that is something that they could be having, okay? It's just basically out front. It's got two sets of straps on it. Linemen sometimes have two down the side because they're a big guy. The chest plate should cover their sternum. Okay, their xiphoid process should come down and protect that, so in case they're hitting the chest. It basically just has a simple shoestring in the front that they can tie. Alright, pair of scissors will slice right up that. Okay, then it just has these little buckles on the side. You can see it. Alright, tighten those down and that allows it to. So all you really need to do is just undo the buckle. Comes like that. Later when I'm wearing them, you'll see how easy it just pops right off Mike's head. It pops off my head here a little bit. And away you go with that. And again, remember, if you're taking one off, you take both off. Alright?
So one of the things we want to kind of talk about is we get into that situation where it's Friday night, we've got a kid down, we've got a player down on the field. We know that we've got a lot of other things going on. We've got people up in the grandstand. We know we have the delay of game. At the end of the day, we have our patient who is our priority as far as what we need to take care of. The trainers, we're going to be on site as well. The trainers are going to be there on the sidelines. They're going to be the ones kind of first in managing that patient. So what we want to kind of remember is it's a team effort, and we all need to be able to work together to make everything go efficiently and cooperatively. So as much as we're respecting the trainer's position, the trainer's getting that initial assessment. The trainer knows the kid more than likely, knows the player better than we do at this point. So it's one of those things we want to be able to get in, we want to have those conversations when the trainer is like, hey, look, this is what I'm suspecting, this is what we know has been going on. And we want to be able to have that transfer of care because we know that not everyone is familiar with our stance on backboarding as far as us not using it. So those are great conversations that you're going to want to have as you're doing these pre-plans with your facilities, is have this conversation early, which is what we're hoping to be able to do here, is to be able to respect the trainer's position that they may not know about they may want to backboard and not realizing what we're going to do. And we certainly don't want to have that kind of a confrontation on the field by any stretch when we know that we've got everybody videoing and everything else around the chaos. So we're getting in the back of the truck, but to be able to have the trainers be able to kind of say, look, this is what we need to be able to do. We may put them on that backboard to make that transition, but we want to make sure that we're not coming in there basically as coming in as a commandeering appearance where, okay, look, this is our show, because it truly is a team effort. And the best way that we're going to be able to do that care is through that collaborative effort. If we need to, ideally we want to be able to get the player and get them into the back of the truck, at least get them off the field so we can either continue assessment or continue our care. And in those instances, having the trainer get in the back of the truck with us and be able to get to that sideline to have those conversations and what we want to be able to do to have that best set level of experience to be able to do that. You guys have anything else any other insight on that as far as how we can help that transition? We all have those instances. We have those instances we get back to the firehouse and we're just like, ah! And the trainers have those instances where like, can you believe they didn't do this? And at the end of the day, we need to be able to have that conversation. And as we all know, in the fire service, we pre-plan. This is no different. This is still requires a critical level of mindset for us to be able to manage everybody. Because not only are we trying to make a decision that's best for the patient, as we also are all within our service providers. We want to make sure we're doing what's best for the community and be able to work together to continue those collaborations.
All right, so for this segment, I'm going to get to put the equipment on. All right, Mike, if you can help me here, just buckle up the straps here. What we're going to do is, after they get these buckled up, we're going to put on the helmet, lay it down here on the floor, and what we're going to do is that we're going to have them take off the shoulder pads and helmet so you can see actually what they're going to be doing, okay? I don't want to have any text or any jokes about me and this football helmet either. All right? So here I am on the floor. I'm an injured athlete on Friday night. So Mike's going to come up and assess me from Gehenna. We're going to go from there. My neck is killing me.
Arms, legs,
Yeah.
numbness continuing anywhere.
No, I mean numbness, but my hands are a little bit numb.
Open the middle of your neck.
Ow.
And
Ow.
in there.
Yeah.
Here, we're gonna have, you're gonna, so at this point, midline tenderness, I'm gonna assume C-spine stabilization. We need to work on equipment removal. So first thing, we're gonna cut the jersey. First thing, let's move the face mask. Access to Airway. From here, we're going to cut the jersey, so we're going to do a T-cut. So we're going to cut from shoulder to shoulder, and then chest down. So the jersey now can be removed. From there, we're going to cut the chin strap off. For sake of saving the chin strap, we're going to leave it on. But normally we cut the chin strap off, so pretend to do that. And then next we're going to work on the shoulder pads. So let's release the straps. And then we would cut the shoestrings, but we'll just untie them.
Did you cut my jersey?
Yeah.
Man.
The jersey's removed, everything that we need to remove has been removed. So now we're going to have somebody else that will assume C-spine stabilization. So if anybody wants to start. We also, we could get the other ladders, but there's right now. Ow! Now I'm going to go on your commands now, and we're going to count to 3, and then on 3 we'll remove the helmet first.
From this view, you can see where they have a gap between the shoulder blades and the head, so they're going to continue to hold the heads apart.
So from here we can have 2 people on the sides. I have C-spine. And then we can try to slide, and if that's not working, we'll do a lift and slide. Next, we're going to remove the shoulder pads on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. From there, we'll put the feet together, we'll cross the arms, and then we'll get ready for a lift. And on my count, we'll lift. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3, lift.
Hi, what's all going on today?
Oh, I got hit in my neck. It hurt me. My hands are a little bit tingling.
Hey, one of you guys want to give me a report or rundown what's going on, what we've done?
Yeah, so we started to palpate the midline, loss of sensation, and upper extremities.
Okay.
So from here, we just started to stabilize the system.
Perfect. I see you've already got the shoulder pads and the helmet off, and you're holding great C-spine. So I think what our best thing for us to be able to do is going to be, we'll make that kind of determination, go through some things. And in this instance, we'll go ahead and put a seat collar on. So we'll go ahead and get that seat collar placed. And then what we'll do while the guys are getting the cot out of the truck is we'll just kind of get a plan, and we'll be able to basically, we're going to do just a standard lift, almost like if it's going to be like a levitation. So we're going to do a lift, and then in this instance, it'll be easiest for us to bring the cot in underneath and basically just come in from the feet, and we'll go up to the head where you're still going to hold C-spine. With this cot, we're going to need to lift at least about 18 inches. So this is the profile is a little bit taller. So if we're using a striker cot, we're going to have that taller profile. So we're going to need to lift a little bit higher, but again, we'll be able to slide in and then get them nested into the mattress. On this one, if we're all good, we'll go ahead and do the lift, and we won't use a backboard for any kind of transfer at this point, since we've got the cot and we're able to make that transfer. So those would be things that we would make those decisions if we needed to, as far as if we needed to get, we weren't able to get the truck on the field or get close enough with the cot, whatever, to be able to make that transition. But in this case, we would just do a lift and then bring the cot in from the feet to be able to make that transition over.
On my count, we're going to wobble to the right. Ready? 1, 2, 3, roll.
And then time to forward, we're going to come in, we're going to palpate back this way. Did you feel anything, touch anything hurt, right touch?
No.
We're going to take a look. We already got the jersey off. So we're going to have a good visual inspection, see if anything else is going on, and we don't. So we'll go ahead and put that point in.
Count down. 1, 2, 3, down.
All right, so in closing today, we've gone over just a couple of things. This was not a long video, but the idea of the video was just so that you guys stimulate some thought. What we do best is we sit around the dining room table and we talk about different scenarios and stuff. In the morning, in the evening, so that's the whole idea of this, okay? We encourage you to get out to your high schools, where you guys are located, whatever. You know, MEC covers a whole lot of different high schools. Get out and meet your athletic trainers, talk with them, come up with a pre-plan that we talked about that's in your protocol, and make sure that it flows well. Ginger touched on some great things today with the spine. We touched on the fact that we want to make sure, especially on Friday nights when we have cameras and everybody with phones videoing us, that we are progressing along and making sure that we get the trainers and stuff and we move off the field. By no means, if this is a serious injury, does that not mean that you take the time to take care of the patient? As we know, the patient is the most important thing. So in closing, we just want to thank Chelsea and Heather from Watkins Memorial, Mike and all his people from Ohio Health, Ginger from West Licking, and again, go out and meet your schools and have fun on Friday nights.